For me to feel like champion, I must be in the water, racing the best, touching the wall first, then I will feel like champion. I must train for 4 more years. 4 years later, the Olympics come to Los Angeles, and the Russians don't. They boycotted us in return, and so he's watching his black and white television set in Moscow as American Mike O'Brien wins the race without breaking 15 minutes. 1985, World or European Championships. I come running up to Vladimir. Vladimir, you're still the only man on the planet better than 15 minutes. Now you must feel like a champion. And he says, no, John, I do not feel like champion. I must be in the water, racing the best, touching first, then I will feel like champion. I must train for 4 more years. I say it's the first time I ever heard a Russian sound like Richard Nixon. 3 years later, 1987 European Championships, 1,500 meters freestyle, Vladimir Salnikov finishes 9th. You see, it's very rare in my sport for a career to last over time. You defend a national title year to year, that's really good. You defend an Olympic title, that's almost unheard of. And he's trying to be the best in the world over 4 Olympic Games. Not one of the best 8 in his continent, still one of the best 2 in his country. He did, in fact, make his 4th Olympic team. And in 1988, before the fall of the wall, the Soviet Union had a minister of sport whose office was in the Kremlin for the purpose of promoting their government's propaganda. And he had a meeting with Vladimir that went something like this. Vladimir, 4th Olympic team, very, very good. But your times lately, not so fast. You already have the gold medal. You already have the world record. But if you go to the Olympics, you will embarrass our country. Come as an assistant coach, ambassador, but please do not swim. And in a nation that prized obedience more than anything else, Vladimir stood up and he said, but I must swim. So when he walked out onto the pool deck in Seoul, Korea, in 1988, he had a black check mark on his Communist Party membership card because he was willing to risk the government's agenda in the pursuit of his personal dream. When he walked out onto the pool deck, swimmers from every country in the world had been raised for the last 12 years in the shadow of this great man. And they'd all walk up to him. Germans and Russians and Italians and Canadians and Americans would all come and say, Vladimir, it's good to see you. You look great. We wish you the best of luck. We hope you win the gold. And they'd come walking over to me, the commentator, and they'd say, but it would take a miracle because this guy's old. At the time, he was 27 years old. Old for a swimmer, I guess.